Alright guys, welcome back. So last week video you guys saw this red MR2. It's a project and I'm still excited to move on and just try to figure out what we're going to do with it. So today, as you can see, it's in the garage. Finally got it clean. Got most of the crap out of it, so once it's in here it feels clean and I can work on it and feel comfortable because I don't like working on a dirty car. So anyways, I got it in and I started taking the interior out. So we're going to show you the floor in more detail. You'll get to see that. Really evaluate the situation. In hindsight, obviously I did this already. In hindsight, it's not as bad as I guess I thought with everything installed with the interior. It is bad, but it's definitely something that can be repaired. Now we did take the fuel tank out as well. I'll show you a few clips in this video here. A lot of the bolts broke, or the captured nut in the floor broke off, so a lot of drilling happened to get this fuel tank out, but we did get it out and the interior is fully out. And as you can see, I figured out how to get the T-tops off, so we got a key made because I had a valet key, and if you don't know about MR2s, your valet key only turns your ignition and your door lock. You need to have your master key to get your T-tops, your glove, and your trunk working. So I had a valet key with this one. So before we move further into the interior, let me just show you what I discovered on the T-top so far. Alright, so here's the T-top. As you can see, the rubber, it actually feels pretty good. But obviously it's dirty, so there are some drain holes in here, back here, so I gotta check to make sure those are not blocked. And then if you look right here, there's supposed to be like a little rubber grommet, like a centric grommet or something. It looks kind of like this one over here. If you have an MR2, you probably know what I'm talking about, but this one is missing on the front. So chances are, and I know it was definitely leaking right here when it rained here with the car. So if this is missing, and when you lock your T-top, it doesn't push down adequately on the rubber. So who knows, that could be the reason why it leaked. I'm hoping that's the reason why it leaked. So I since ordered a grommet for here, and we're gonna try to fix that. Alright, so here's the floor. Trying to figure out how much rust. And as you guys can see, it's a lot of rust. It's just falling apart. So I'm gonna attempt to drop the fuel. That's solid. Kinda solid, solid, kinda solid. All of this is gone. Alright guys, real messy work. As you saw, the floor literally falling out. So I'm going to take out the seat. I had to drill this thing out, cut it out because everything is rotted. So I'm going to take the seat out, lift the carpet, and get a true picture of what's happening with this floor. Alright guys, here's a big reveal on the floor. So rear doesn't look too bad. I put some cardboard here just so I wouldn't fall through the floor. This is the seat bracket I had to cut out. So let's see how bad this floor is. There you go. Welcome to the Flintstones. Well guys, it always has to get worse before it gets better. So this is the floor. You know, looking at it now with the seat out, you can see there are kind of clear lines that we can define to replace this floor. So I think it's gonna be okay. The back here, it's compromised in a few years, but for the most part, honestly, if we fixed the seat post, you probably could get away with it, but we're probably gonna replace everything anyways. But you know, it's for whatever it's worth, it can be fixed. Obviously, a lot of stuff came out. That's what we got on the floor there. That's just from hammering, and I'm obviously gonna use a vacuum and clean all of this up. You guys know me, I work very clean. So all of this goes in the trash, and we just continue to clean. Now the reason why I started this, I'm dropping the fuel tank, but This bracket right here, that's for the e-brake. And obviously it's rusted shut. I'd never get it off. So I just decided to remove the carpet. So we'll drop the bracket and hopefully the bolts on the other side will be free and can pull without being broken. And we're gonna have to drill those out, and when we put a new floor in, be able to bolt up the e-brake bracket. Now the big question is the bracket for the fuel tank. That's probably rusted in as well. So, you know, this is a mission, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna figure it out because that's what we do. That's what I do. That's what I like. So stay tuned. We're getting ready to replace this fuel pump, and we got to pull a few things in the back. So we took the metal cover off the rear firewall in this area, and now we have access to all the hoses. So we have this little emissions type of cylinder right here, and there are a bunch of hoses connected. So we're gonna have to remove this hose. This is the main feed line here. Hopefully you can see that where the screwdriver is touching. So that's a 14 millimeter and a 19. This section turns. The section towards the filter does not turn, right? So you gotta put your wrench here and turn on this one. Loosen that. This one was a little bit hard to pull, but I finally got it. And then we have some other lines. So basically everything that's attached to here and attached to the fuel line. If you look at this one over here, this is the return line. So return and feed, which I just showed you earlier. I'm gonna pull those, and then everything attached to this little cylinder right here. All these lines, we're gonna pull them off. So that's what you gotta do in the back end. We also gotta pull the filler neck here. So that's this clamp. And this is the return, like a breather for the filler neck as well. So we gotta pull these. So quite a few things. So let me count. We got 2 for the fill. We got the fill, feed and return. And I believe there are 2 or 3 lines like this on this little cylinder thing in the back. So that's what you gotta pull in the back. Now if you look, you see it has headers right here, so it's not the typical catalytic converter that you'll find. So it does give us a little bit more room to work in the back, which is helpful. Because this job is not the easiest thing. Now, next we're gonna go underneath the car. I already took off the plastic covers, and as most of you guys saw on the video before this one, there's a lot of rust underneath there. So pretty much all these bolts are gonna probably break off. Probably not even attached to anything, but I'll bring you under the car, show you what that looks like. Alright, so we're dropping the bracket on the front. John is here with me helping, and we're trying to get the bolts off of the radiator line. Alright, John, what is this you have in front of you?
Oh, it's my little gas tank, man. Come on.
That's a big
We're having
gas
enough
tank,
together here.
Alright guys, so we got it out. John was on the back, or we basically just pull it down from the front, push the lines to the side. We did loosen the sway bar because we found that the radiator hose was hitting on the sway bar, so we just took it out just to make our life easier. Pulled it down at the front right there. And I jumped into the engine and basically pushed these hoses off and just kind of wiggled it out, and it's out. So now we're gonna slide it out from under the car, see what's up, check this pump out, and hopefully that's our issue. Alright, so obviously my garage looks like an MR2 exploded. It's kind of driving me crazy because I'm tapped out with space. Everything is a mess. These are some of the brackets that we took off. So this is for the e-brake. As you can see, bolts are welded shut here, so I gotta get these drilled out. So that side I got the bolts out. This side is obviously the floor rotted out and everything is there. The bolts here, you saw me trying to drill them out. Again, the captured nut in the floor broke out on both sides. Didn't even get to drill out, so I gotta get that fixed. The front bracket is fine. The middle bracket, where all the plastics bolted on, all of those broke off, so I gotta drill these out as well. So, you know, it was a mission, but we got it done. But right now, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this side of the interior. So I'm going to go take that out and see what's happening on this side of the floor, which should not be as, well, it shouldn't be half as bad as that side. I'm expecting it to be okay, so fingers crossed I don't have any issues on this side. But let's get right to it. Let me start taking this interior out. Passenger side is not looking too bad. It's dirty. We'll clean it. But in terms of rust, I think we can get away with this, we're good to go. Someone had jacked up right where the drain plug is there, so the floor is kind of pushed up, so you'll see some cracking. But otherwise the floor is pretty much intact. A little bit of surface rust over here that I think can be cleaned up. So in the grand scheme of things, really don't really have to do much there. So making some progress on the passenger side. Gonna clean this up now, get the vacuum to it and keep moving along. Okay, so last time we saw the exterior of the car and didn't really get a chance to look under the bottom. So as you guys see, I have taken out the fuel tank. It's sitting right under there. I cleaned it up, but I haven't even touched it to take the pump out yet, because after seeing the floor and the proximity to the tank definitely needs to come out to get these repairs done. So my original plan was to drop the tank, get a new pump in, get the engine running, but it's kind of counterproductive, I think, at this point to put the pump in, get the car running. Then I'm gonna have to take it to a body shop or try to do the welding myself, which will require me to drop the tank again anyways. So at this point, I think I'm just gonna kind of remove all the rusty stuff I can, get to the areas, identify all the areas that needs to be welded, and probably leave the tank out, tow the car to wherever I'm gonna go, and just kind of address it like that. Now, you guys can probably hear my voice. I'm I don't have a clear plan as to what I'm gonna do, but in the meantime, I guess for the purpose of this video, you know, we didn't really show a DIY how to remove the tank, but just know that there's 3 brackets, one in the back, one in the middle, one in the front, and then you gotta loosen all of these lines. So the water lines, the AC lines, you gotta take the e-brake cable down. All of that stuff needs to be taken out, and then you basically pull them apart, and then the tank drops down. And you saw the hoses in the back. I kind of pointed to those where we need to drop them. But let's take a look under the car. Let's see what we can find. What are some of the issues? No, car is not super high, so I'm gonna do my best to film it. But I guess from the engine, the block looks really good. It turns over really well. There is an oil leak, and it's not from the time in cover. It's really just this oil pan gasket. As you can see here, somebody used, I think it's a rock hard or rubber gasket, which I know doesn't work really well. Proper thing is to use the Toyota sealant and seal it. I actually did that on the last MR2 that I had, and it worked really well. So this one, probably gonna have to do the same while this motor is in, if I decide to drive it a little bit with this motor. Not too bad. This exhaust just comes right off, then we'll drop the pan and can figure it out quite easily. But let's talk about the rust. So let's see, we're on the passenger side in the rear. Sorry about that. So this is the corner of the trunk area, and as you can see, not terribly bad compared to the rest of the car, but obviously there's rust. The exhaust hanger is practically rusted out, so those bolts are not coming out without the floor actually being compromised. So we probably need to cut this floor out, replace it, do it like a case swap or whatever. We gotta do something. If I go on the driver's side, it gets even worse. This is really the trouble side of the car. So the driver's side, as you can see, it's all rotted out. So that needs to be fixed. And here is the spindle. And again, the back end plate on the brake all rotted out again, so I'm probably just gonna chop that off, get rid of it. And then we got a major issue right here. This is where the rear vent area is, by the rear quarter. This is behind the door. So all underneath here, it's rotted out, so we're gonna have to replace metal, hopefully. That can be done. So, man, this thing is super rusty. And then you can see here, this bracket that we have, the trailing arm. It bolts to the main frame of the chassis, and it's rotted here. So I think we can still save this with some welds. Again, I need to get a professional welder in here to kind of determine that, but I believe we can straighten it. This area, probably just put like a plate and just kind of put a gusset in here and just reinforce this side to this bracket. At least that's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, the rest of it here is just surface rust that can be knocked off. Kind of have a new engine mount that was put on, I guess, when this car was parked, or when the engine went in, because this is a replacement engine. And here's our tunnel. So a lot of cobwebs. Saw some of that leaves that I took out from under the tree. So this was just covered in leaves and grass. And I'm sure all of that, once it gets wet, it just sort of sits there and, you know, collects moisture and helps to rot this car out. So moving along here. Again, this is the passenger side, so the floor here doesn't look bad at all. There's like a little hole in the front under the passenger footwell, but nothing major, can be easily fixed. The rails are fine on the inside, on the outside need to be replaced, but that's fairly easy stuff on an MR2 from what I've seen, or you know, you can see these cars, body shops don't seem to be scared of that. Inside of the tunnel looks pretty good. The copper lines all seem to be in place. Hopefully none of them are cracked, but the tunnel itself is pretty good. It's really just the floor, so here we go. We start with the floor that's right by the seat rail on the driver's side. So it starts from there, just kind of works its way all the way up to the pedal. So that's all rotted out, but this is underneath, and then we have this kind of coating that helps to cover, you know, how bad it really is, starting from that point forward. But as you can see, it's pretty close to these lines, and then obviously if we put the tank back in here, then you won't be able to weld without kind of burning the tank. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm probably not going to put the tank up yet, at least, because I'm trying to get a body shop to really take this, or me and my friend Kevin, we're going to become professional welders and body men to fix this car. But you know, I guess the question is, am I gonna give up on it? Nope, I'm not gonna give up on it, at least not that easy. I actually don't mind, you know, I don't mind the project. You know, seriously, if I had more space, I would just rip the entire car apart and just pull everything apart, put it back together, and then I guess I would truly have a full understanding of everything on an MR2. I think by the end of this, you know, if we really get through this process here, I am going to pull this entire car apart. Dash is coming out, everything is coming out. But this is the rear to the center panel. We're going to go to the front. I'm going to show you what's going on in the front. Once you pass the pedals forward, it looks okay, at least just like the other two cars I have. But yep, this is where we are, guys. Let's go to the front. All right, moving on to the front, we have the floor. So this is under the driver's footwell. So there it is. So pretty much from there all the way to the back by the seat rail. That's the seat rail right there. That is all compromised. So that entire area needs to be cut out. All right, fender wells. Those are looking pretty good. Struts are shot, they're rotted out, but those typically get replaced on an MR2 anyways. These brakes, believe it or not, the pads are pretty new. The rotors are rusted, but I'm gonna use my wire wheel, and I think I'm gonna be able to at least make these work in the short term. The back end plates are all gone. If I put some wheel woods, I don't need them anyways. So we'll have to get to that. And there you go, the struts are really, really shot. Look at that. Really, really bad, but yeah, I'm not worried about that. That's easy to replace. The steering rack is leaking, but you know, here is the passenger side strut. Again, all rotted out. And then surprisingly, we took the sway bars off, and normally on these 91 MR2s right here, where the strut bar is bolted to the chassis, those typically break. But it's, you know, a little surface rust, but again, it's solid. Nothing is cracked. It's all good there. I'm gonna remove the sway bar because we have to take it out, at least drop it to get the tank out. Easier process to get the tank out. And then we move right up to the radiator area. Again, these brackets are all rusty. Yeah, more than likely these bolts will break if I try to pull it, but we can easily drill those out. And then the fans, again, surface rust, can clean that up, but you can replace all of that with aftermarket radiator and fan, so not too concerned there. And then these suspension pieces, again, you know, the arms are pretty solid, just surface rust. And you know, like these pieces, you can get replacement for them. But you know, just a lot of work, a lot of replacing stuff. But definitely, I think I can bring this thing back to life, and I want to bring it back to life. I'm motivated to bring it back to life just because, you know, because it's a challenge, and I think this car probably deserves at least second lease on life. So this panel, all of this rocker panel here, I'm hoping to just get all of that replaced. So again, we just need to have a body man, qualified body shop, be able to take this car and do something with it. I'm gonna close this video out, kind of remove most of the interior. Haven't taken out the roof liner yet, but everything else is out. Some nice speakers, some nice Polk audio. There it is, everything is out. Just trying to get that thing fixed so I can feel a little bit better about the project. But this is the update. I pulled the vent off here. Let me show you this real quickly on the side. Again, this is what the side looks like. Driver's side, I haven't pulled the passenger side yet. Next video I'll pull it off, show you guys what's happening over there. But we gotta get all of this repaired. And again, a lot of rust on this side. You can tell somebody tried to fix it before. Obviously a poor job was done there to fix that. But yeah guys, I guess somebody gotta do it right, and hopefully that's gonna be me. So again, the rear brakes, looks like brakes were pretty new when they were put on, but they just sat there and got rusted out. Pads are new, so we'll clean this up with a wire wheel and try to work with it in the meantime. Hope you guys enjoyed it. More to come, more updates on this car. As I mentioned, it's definitely a project, but something that I'm willing to take on and something I believe can be done. We'll see how this all works out, but for now, I'm just identifying all the issues, recording it here, kind of doing it before. I'm going to start cleaning up the interior pieces just because I like everything super clean. The wheels are all rusted from probably sitting on a sprinkler where it just got a lot of, you know, that hard water, and I picked up a lot of those rustings. So I'm going to clean those up. I think those should come out pretty nice, and who knows, I don't even know if I'm going to use those wheels again, but you know me, I like to have everything just looking clean and nice, and I enjoy the project of restoring them. So that's going to be it for today. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.